Welcome to Akoma Baako. We are a group that seeks to promote unity through dialogue, spoken word, poetry, music, art, history, and literature amongst African descendants everywhere throughout the diaspora and Africa. Thank you. Thank you, and leave your comments below. Thank you. Hello, good afternoon. My name is Vicki Bass, and I have moved to Ghana, and I know that all of my family are not aware of this. I've only told certain people privately through messenger or phone. So I wanted to tell everybody that this is where I am, this is where I chose to come. And the reason why is because I visited Ghana in March of 2018. And I came as a tourist on a tourist visa. And I loved it here. I loved it. I felt a connection right away to my roots, to the people here. Everyone was so friendly and so welcoming. That I wanted to return. So I came again in March, and I stayed for about a month. I met my family, Samuel, who I adopted, and his mom, and I just bonded with Africa here in Ghana. So that's the reason why I came back to live here. And of course, there was so much tension in the U.S., and everyone who is in the U.S. now knows there are so many deaths by cop in the U.S. where the police officer is shooting innocent or unarmed people. There are so many mass shootings that occur in the U.S. that it just made me so sad and so tense to live there. So I said, you know, I'm gonna make this move, which I did, and so that's where I'm at now. I'm living here. I've been living here since June of this year. June of this year when I first came here. I feel like this is where I belong, and this is where I'm going to be. I came here as a retirement, to retire from my job of 30 years as a medical records coder, health information specialist, and I wasn't happy doing that, and now, you know, I feel happy here. I feel free here. So that was one of the reasons why I decided to leave. It's probably two or three of the reasons why I decided to leave is because of the violence in the United States, the insanity of our current presidency, our history of violence that we have, of the mass shootings that are occurring to innocent people. And that here in Ghana, I feel at home. I feel a sense of family. I feel a connection. Of course, I have done my DNA, and I know that I had ancestors who were taken from Ghana 5 generations ago. So I'm back. I'm here, and I'm glad to be here. Now, when I first came, there were some things that I had to do. Because when I first got off the plane and I asked the official at the airport, she asked me, well, how long was my stay? And I told her that I planned on staying this time, and she says, well, you should go to immigration. So the first thing I did when I got here, and I mean, it took a while, it took maybe about a week or two, was I went to immigration, and I I had to try to get a residency for 1 year. That was the first thing, and that's the one thing that I suggest if you plan on coming to stay, that you get a residency. They will give you a non-citizen ID card, and you know, there's a process going through that. It costs some, and if my situation might be a little different from everyone else's because I do have family here. My family was able to help me. Some people, they come, they're married, that might be a situation for them, and it might be a little easier for them because they're married, they can get their ID a little faster. But if you come here and you are a family or you're alone, and you don't have someone to ask to help, and you don't have, if you are a business person, well then if you're a business person, the ID might be a little bit more expensive. Myself, I'm retired, it wasn't as expensive. If you come and you have your own business, then the cost might be a little bit more elevated. So there's a difference. There are a whole lot of different scenarios. I can only give you my scenario. And so I can't remember exactly, I think in cities, the cost of the CID, the non-citizens identification, was $650, I think. And then it may have been some more added on for the 1 year residency, because they stamp your passport with a 1 year residency. So that was what I had to do. That was the first thing that I did when I came here. Another thing you might want to have is a business in mind, something that you should do, and you might want to talk to some Ghanaians about what is needed. You might want to need to work with Ghana, and you want to look up those rules, because there are some rules that you have to follow on starting a business in Ghana. There are certain things you can and cannot do. So I had to look those things up. So if you're coming to start a business, you want to work within the rules. I tried to do everything within the rules. I did not want to do anything that was against the law. Because as an American or as a foreigner coming to Ghana, you cannot say open up a store. You know, there's rules about what you can and cannot do. So if you work with a Ghanaian and you start a business, you guys would have to determine how much of the business he would take in and how much of the business you would take in. So you want to work within the rules. So that was one of the things that I tried to do. Also, so that was my first step, was to get my immigration, to get my residency. And I'm here for a year. After this year is up, then the next thing is that I will have to renew this residency. And I think that when you renew it, you're going to renew it for 2 years the next time. So that would be the next step when this year is passed. And like I said, I came here in June, so that won't be until June of 2020. Then the other thing is finding a place to live, and that's difficult when you live all the way across the world. So that's difficult. And again, it helped me because I have someone here. So when you come, you may want to look for someone who is maybe an agent, a real estate agent, or someone who does that kind of work for a living. So when you come, you might go around and see if you can find an agent so that you can find someplace to live where you can rent and actually take your time and look for a place to live. I found this place. I had an agent who helped me find this place where I'm living at now, and I just asked him, I gave him a range of what I could afford. So he looked for a place that was affordable for me and in my range, in my price range, and then he found this place for me. So that's another thing that once you move, you might want to have. Once you come and visit, you could come and visit for maybe a couple of weeks the first time. Maybe you want to come back and stay for a month. Maybe you can stay in a bed and breakfast. The bed and breakfasts are not that expensive, or you can stay in a guest house. That's it. They call them guest houses. There's several guest houses that you can stay that are not so expensive, and you can stay there, for about a month and rent there, and then you'll just find your way around. As far as transportation is concerned, they have Uber, they have Bolt, so you can rent a ride in Ghana very easily. You just get the app, put that on your phone, and you can come and go as you need to come and go. Another app that I like is the USD and Ghana CD app, so that you can find out what the rate is of Ghana CDs and currencies compared to the US currency. And at this time, it's 5.56 according to this app. That is another thing that you might want to look into, is so that you will know the difference in the transactions that you make. And then another thing is, when you come to live in Ghana, if you want to be a citizen and you want to actually reside here, then you might look into getting a bank account. I chose Fidelity. At the time, Fidelity was, it was a pretty good transition. They weren't asking, or they weren't requiring a lot. They weren't requiring me to have my non-citizen's ID. And Fidelity also allows me to invest in Ghana. They have an investment account called the Flip account, and you can put a certain amount in, and you can actually invest in Ghana. So I was glad to be able to do that, because you're investing in the treasury account of Ghana, and though that money that you put in, it actually goes to help. It actually goes to supposedly to build roads and to build up the community, which is something great that I'm glad I can contribute to. So that is another thing that you might want to consider when you move here. Right now, I currently live in Oyarifa. It's a nice town. It rains a lot here, but it's beautiful here. It's close to the Aguri Mountains, and if you've ever visited Aguri, you would love it there, because it's up in the mountains. It's very cool. The atmosphere is very breezy. It has a nice view of Accra. So you would love it there. And since I've been here, I visited several places. I've been to a lot of the restaurants here. I've been to Cape Coast. I've been to the Elmina, I call them dungeons, but they're called castles, where the slaves were held before they took the last ship going to into the transatlantic slave trade. They went into, say, the Caribbeans or to America or to South America. And that was one of the most painful things, standing in those castles and knowing that your ancestors were taken from there and taken to never to come back again to Africa. That was one of the most painful things. From there we went to Cocoon, where they have the bridges that kind of float over the gardens, and that was, that was way back in March, and it was very nice. It was fun. We had an enjoyable time. It was a little scary because I'm afraid of heights, but it was fun. We enjoyed that. Since I've been in Oyarfa, we visited Buri, the botanical gardens there, and there we also have visited there's another garden here that's sort of in Medina area. And we visited there one day. We took a little boat ride in that garden area. So that was nice. We've had a lot of fun. And I've also visited restaurants here that sell authentic Ghanaian food, and it's excellent. It's they'll have, say, one of my favorite dishes is contumely. I love contumely with either fish and chicken, and I love the grilled fish. And of course I love fufu, and so they, and then you can have it with yam and fried plantains. So there's a variety of dishes that you will love when you come. You're gonna really feel like you're at home because it's home cooked and it's just delicious. So that would be one thing that you're going to really look forward to in visiting Ghana is the food. A lot of it reminds me of home, of being at home. And the soups are delicious, so you will enjoy your stay here. And also there are a lot of good night spots that you would like to visit here. Dance halls and nightclubs that you will enjoy. So when you come to Ghana, you should come to visit first. You should bring enough money just to have a good time and enjoy yourself. You'll meet a lot of good people, a lot of fun people here, and just come and enjoy. So yes, when you come, there's good and bad people everywhere. So you might find some people, like if you're down, say you're out at the market, they might bump into you, but you will find good friends here, good friends, people who will treat you like family, who will want to. They're looking out for your well-being. I have not met a Ghanaian who has not been polite to me. They're very polite. They're very courteous. One-on-one. There's a a variety of religions. A lot of Ghanaians are Christian. There are Ghanaians here who are Muslim. They are, a whole lot of different nationalities or tribes. There's Elway, there's Ga, they speak different languages. I think the majority might speak Tree, but English is the basic language that I've heard spoken in Ghana. So there's no way that you will not be understood, but you might have a problem with your the way your accent or your the way you phrase something. I remember telling a driver asking him to back up, and he was parked a little bit in front of me, and I was asking him to back up. And my friend, he came out and could you tell him to back up? And my friend, he got on the line, and he just said a few things. And then the driver started coming back. So I asked him, what did you say? He said, I told him to come back. Our accent kind of sets us apart just a bit. And there's times I've been called a Roman, which means foreigner, which also means white lady. And I don't take it as an offense anymore, but most African Americans do not like that term because they don't want to be called white because of the things they went through in America with white people. So we don't really care for that term too much. And I would say don't take it as an offense because that's not how it's meant. It's the one word they have that means both white person and foreigner. So I had to learn that because when I first heard it, I kind of got my feelings hurt, and but it wasn't offensive. It wasn't meant to be offensive. So I think that that's one of the things as an African American, that when you come and if you hear it, you might feel some kind of way about, you don't want to take it as an offense because that's the way you're described. It's not an offensive term. I do want to learn the Tree language. I've asked Samuel, I've asked people to teach me, but nobody has really had the patience to do that. So I've often thought, well, maybe I should take a class and learn it. I listen very well, so I'm starting to understand when people say certain things. And I've learned a few things like if I say it right, pajema, right? Pajemaya. And I've learned some things like etisen and to say eye. But when I say it, most times if I say certain things and I speak to certain people, they'll just say it in English. They'll say, so if I say, let's see, if I say nadase, they'll say, thank you. Or, just say it in English. They don't want me, maybe because my English accent messes the word up or something. I think if we come here, we have to learn. We have to learn Tree. We have to learn the language in order to communicate better. And we have to learn the way that Ghanaians phrase their English, because I've learned that what I call the living room is actually called the hall. Ghanaians call the hall. And there are several other things that Ghanaians phrase it differently than our English. So they're using the British English. And what we speak. We speak American English, yes, and it's in our English. Sometimes even when I'm in America, I don't even understand some of the American English. So I totally can understand that about this. So I want to encourage you, especially people from the U.S., because that's where I'm from, to come visit Ghana. It's one of the most peaceful countries that you can visit. It's the third or fourth most peaceful country in the world. And it has very low crime, and you don't, of course, in America we have so many violent episodes. We don't see that here in Ghana. It's peaceful. It's brotherhood here. Something that we're not used to in America anymore. You don't have to worry about going into the shopping mall or being in a public place in Ghana because it's peaceful, and you don't have to worry about someone coming in and doing you harm. You can walk anywhere and be at peace. And that's why, one of the reasons why I'm here is because I needed that peace and the serenity that Ghana offers. I think you will enjoy it. I think you should come, and you'll be welcome here. As the Ghanaians say, Akwala, you will be welcome.